Okay, so we're going to look on at our retrieval skills today. So the statement that we look at to achieve our skills is retrieve and record information or identify key details from fiction and non-fiction. So what that means is to find key pieces of information within the text that you're reading. So we have to be detectives and you have to go and find the information from where you might think it is in the book. Okay, so you need to look through the text for a specific answer. Now, with retrieval questions, we know the answer you're looking for is always got to be in the text. Okay, that's the whole point of retrieval. There's no guessing, there's no thinking about it, there's no inference. They're asking you a question, we've got to go and find it and retrieve it. So imagine like you throw a ball to a dog and you say, well, go fetch. They get it and they bring it back. So they retrieve it. So they go find it and they bring it back. Okay, same thing with retrieval skill questions. You need to underline the key parts of the question, identify where that might be in the text, go and find it, and then you copy that down for your answer. So let's have a look at the different types of questions you could be asked. I know we've looked at some of these before because I know last week we did our 5 W's, okay, and that's one of our question styles. We're going to do a different one today. But here's an example of some of the questions. So what is the name of the main character? Simple. Which part of the text tells you? So this could be about feelings of a character, the emotions of a character. What does the main character, how does the main character behave, speak, or look? Okay, that's quite a good one. We're talking about Sorrel because she gets a little bit, hectic, as does Rat. Who is telling the story and how do you know? Okay. Where, when is this story set and how do you know? So that might be a beginning question when you start a new book or a new text. What do you think is happening in this part of the story? Okay, so that's where you would retrieve some of your information to help you. Now, we're going to focus primarily today on our multiple answer questions. Okay, so here are 3 different examples of some multi answers. So obviously multiple, multi, lots of, so more than one answer. So for example, write down 3 things that you're told about the oak tree on the island. So you can see there 3 marks. It says 3 in the sentence. You've got to find 3 pieces of evidence in the text to support that answer. Here you've got to give 2 reasons why Mauritius was a paradise, or give 2 reasons why the dodo became extinct. Here it directs you to where you need to find the answers in the text. You don't have to think, you don't have to know your general knowledge to know the answer to that question, you just find the evidence in the text. Okay, same goes for this question here as well. Okay, so you can see how there's different options for your answers. Okay, so one way or another it's going to ask you 2 or more responses. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to carry on using this modelled example, okay, for this week to practice with our questions, okay. So if you don't remember it, just pause the video and have a quick read of it, and then we will have a go at doing some questions together. So pause the video and have a quick read. Okay, so I'm going to model an example to you of how we answer these type of questions, okay. This is going to be based on the text from the previous slide. So name 2 things that were not considered special and why. Now I made a spelling mistake there. I really need to start going back and making sure I check my work properly. Year 5, you should be disgraced in me, I apologise. So name 2 things that were not considered special and why. So I need to think to myself, well, what does the question need me to look for? So I need to look for 2 things, okay, but what 2 things? Well, 2 things that were not considered special. Okay, so I first of all need to find those 2 things, but I then need to do something else because I then need to explain why. Okay, so I'm going to go and find the part of the text that mentioned about the special things or the not so special things that were in the warehouse. Okay, so here is the text. So this is the beginning of the text. Okay, so I now need to be reading along. So I'm looking for the keyword special or something that was not special. So if I have a look here in the very first sentence, there's nothing special, but I don't know what that's referring to. So I'm going to read around that whole sentence. So let's read the whole sentence. The quartz spear was nothing special. Okay, so this is obviously relating to the quartz spear. Okay, so the quartz, this is the gem that she's looking at. So the first part of my answer is going to be quartz. But if I have a look here, it said why. So I need to investigate further as to why that quartz isn't special. So I need to read on. So here it says, plenty like it at the bazaar for the right price. So that means if there's plenty of it, well, it's not going to be very rare, is it? So that's why it's not something special, because everyone's going to be able to have it. So here I would say, because there is plenty and it's not rare. Okay, if that means there's plenty of it, that means there's lots of it for everyone to have, therefore everyone's got it, so it can't be special. So now I need to go back to my question. So I did quartz because there's plenty, it's not rare, but my question actually says I need 2 things. So I've got to carry on reading. So I'm still looking for my keywords of something not being special. So if I read on, the spear's cloudy, white point lay on the workstation. Next to the pestle and mortar, it glinted dully. Nothing there. The workstation wasn't special either. Okay. Now I've identified it wasn't special, but I still need to think, well, what is it that wasn't special? And it was the workstation. So now that's going to be part of my answer. But I know from the question before, I've got to think, well, why? Why was it not special? So I need to read on. So it says a wooden worktop and a shelf of instruments that had never been used. Okay, so that's the reason why it wasn't special, because everything that was on it just hadn't been touched and hadn't been used. So there was really no point of having it. So the workstation was considered not special because it was covered in unused instruments. Done and dusted. Okay, now I'm going to go back and check my question because there's name 2 things. So I've named 2 things. So I've named the quartz and I've named the workstation. But then I given a reason for why for each. Well, yes, I know the quartz was because there's lots of it, so it's not rare. And yes, I know I've got the workstation because it's covered in lots of unused instruments. Okay, so tick and tick, perfect answers. Okay, so now it's your turn to have a go. Okay, let's move my beautiful face out of the way. So have a go at this one on your own. So can you name the 3 gems according to the text are rarer than topaz? So you're going to need to think about what the key words are in your question, what words you're going to need to look for in the text that's going to help you with the answer. I need to think about what information you need to include. Okay, so have a go at writing that question down and highlight or underline the keywords and see if you can find it in the text. Okay, so let's go through this one together. So I realise if you don't have the text in front of you, you might need to go back and rewind the video just to that little bit on the text so you can find it. So first of all, we've got the 3 gems, okay? And then it has to be something rarer than topaz, okay? So I'm going to put the text up here for you to have a look at. So if you weren't able to find the text beforehand, pause the video now and have a quick read of it and answer the question. Okay, so now that you've got that there in front of you, I realise that was a very silly mistake of mine. I'm looking for the name of 3 gems that are rarer than topaz. So if I have a look here, I found the sentence that says topaz was rare. So I know I'm on the right lines, okay? But then it says not as rare as diamond, okay? So it means that the first one I'm looking for then is going to be diamond, because I know it says that it's not as rare as diamond, okay? And I'm going to keep reading. So not as rare as diamond, comma, sunstone. So I know because of that comma, I'm now in a list. So I know that the next word is going to be another thing that's not as rare. So we've then got number 2. So we've got sunstone. Now I'm going to go back and look at my question. My question said I need 3. So I need to keep reading. So it's not as rare as diamond, sunstone, or fire opal. Okay, so fire opal is going to be my 3rd gem. So I'm going to check the question. It says they've got to be rarer than topaz. Well, it says they're not. Topaz is not as rare. And then I know I've got diamonds, sunstone, and fire opal. Okay, so well done if you got those questions correct. So your task for this lesson is I'd like you to complete the multiple answer questions that you have got for your chapter pages we've read today. So you're going to need to have the text in front of you. Okay, you need to highlight the keywords in your question and then find it in the text. Now, if you haven't got any of these pages printed, I've added the slides, I've added the pages on again at the end of the video so that you can have them up in front of you to see. Okay, so please don't feel like you then need to print them, because I will start making sure I put them on the end of each PowerPoint for you. Okay, so have a go at those questions and see how you get on. Okay, I'm going to flick through the slides so you can see them. Okay, good luck, Year 5.